Right, take two. Here we go. Hopefully, this is a better connection, less pixelated, and hopefully, you can hear me, everyone. Hopefully, this is a much better thing. I've now got my Rode microphone plugged in, which is what I normally use, but I just thought, yeah, I'm going to be different. Rule, don't fix it if it ain't broke. So, welcome back, everyone. Take two. Here we go. Can everyone hear me clearly? Good evening. Hello, hello. Lovely to see you all online and lovely to see you all in the room. Great. All good. That's what we like to hear. So, let's get Kai back on and we can carry on. And hopefully, this time there won't be a weird delay either, because that was sort of strange. That was like, yeah, he's back. Oh, just in time. Yeah, can you hear me, Kai?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yay!
I
That's
can't
so
see
good.
myself though for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, you can't see yourself?
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I can see you. That's the main
Well,
thing.
you're dead bang center in the middle of the shot, which is great. You're exactly where you need to be.
Perfect. That's all I need to know. That's great.
Um, right then, shall we kick off? Let's try this
Let's do
again.
it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Fantastic. So you were born in Wales. Terrible, sorry. I mean, shockingly bad Welsh,
Fine.
whatever. And you have been performing from an early age. So I wondered just where that kind of innate confidence came from.
Oh gosh. I think it was just. I think it's something that people are. You just have. I think there's a people have that just that confidence. I think from a very early age, and I think it was nurtured and noticed when I was in school because I really didn't really mind getting up and speaking in front of people in
Yeah,
class. If something needed to be read out, the teacher go, anybody want to read this? Anybody? People would go. People would put their heads down, but I'd put my hand up and go, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. And I was always blessed with a loud voice, and I think that I just didn't mind doing it at all. So I was just very confident and loud, and I was the class joker and being a pain in the ass to people. Oh, I may swear. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry if I might
no,
swear.
go for it. There was
Uh,
this.
it's like, so I was always like the class joker, always mucking about, and it was just nurtured as a kid. I had, there was nobody from my family who came from like an arts background at all. It was very
Yeah,
working class, a small little village in Wales. My mum was a cleaner. My dad worked in the local factory. All my family were builders, joiners, butchers. So for me to be an actor, it really wasn't even on the, a part of the plan or even part of the sort of like scene of things over there. Nobody could, it wasn't really, people didn't leave the town to go and do this sort of thing. So I think it was just nurtured, and I performed in all the nativity plays as a kid in school, and then I did musicals, the school musicals, and I had two amazing teachers who said, if you wanted to do this as a career, there is a way to do this if you wanted to do this. Because I was working in a butcher's at the time, and I could have gone down that route, or I think I was looking at doing a plumbing course in Llandrillo Tech in Colwyn
yeah,
Bay, and because a couple of mates had done carpentry and joinery there, and I was doing that, and they said, look, you can do this. There's a BTEC Performing Arts course if you fancy it. So they sort of guided me along the path, and that it came from there really. It was nurtured, and it was just in me. I think it's, people can train to be an actor. They can go to drama school and do all these things, but I think it's in you. It's in the confidence. You can't teach that. And I could just get up and do it. I
yeah,
just went, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. Oh.
yeah. But it was indeed your destiny to go to drama school because of these two wonderful teachers who guided you. You
Yeah,
ended up going to Mount View, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I went to Mount View. They like I said, they showed me that there was a path out of Llanrwst, where I came from, to sort of like, if I wanted to be an actor, there's a way to go, and so they showed me a way. So I auditioned for the National Youth Theatre of Wales that summer, and I spoke to the guy. I said, who was auditioning. He said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to go to. I'm doing a BTEC performing arts. I'd like to do this and stuff." And he said, "You know, you could go straight to drama school. You don't have to do a BTEC." And his name was Paul Clements, and he was in charge. He was the principal of Welsh College of Music and Drama in Cardiff at the time, and also ran the National UK Wales. And he said, "You know, come and audition for Welsh College if you'd like. You know, we'd like to see you for that." So I did go. I auditioned for Welsh College, and I got a place in Welsh College that year, and I dropped out. I didn't go. I was too homesick. I wasn't ready. I didn't feel right. I didn't feel settled. I'm a mammy's boy, and I didn't really want to. I wasn't ready to leave home, actually. It was a big shock because I'd literally gone from school to Welsh College, and I didn't know. It all happened so quick. So in the year out, I kind of then auditioned and applied for Mountview, because my first love really is musical theatre, and Mountview was the best and is the best for musical theatre at the time. So I wanted to go and sing. I wanted to be the next Michael Ball. I wanted to do Les Mis and stuff. So I went to Mountview in 1995, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, so that was going to be my next question. Was drama school a happy place for you? But I wanted to, before you answer, just very, very quickly say, for anyone who's joining us for the first time, if you don't mind just holding on to your questions till the end, you can pin them at the bottom or just hang 5, because I always leave a little bit of time at the end for us to answer questions, because otherwise it's really tricky keeping up as they come flooding in. But yeah, so drama school was a happy time for you, and
it was an amazing time. I left this small little town in North Wales, this brilliant town in North Wales, where you know, I'm very proud of there, and I go back as often as I can. Not as much this year, sadly, but I was just plonked into bloody Mountview, into London, into North London. So I didn't have a clue what was going on, but I loved it. I met the best people. I met friends for life, and yeah, I loved it. It took me a while to settle. I went home the first few weekends because I wasn't too sure, and I thought, oh, I think I'm going to drop out. I think I'm going to drop out again. But actually, thanks to a couple of people in my year at the time, that they sort of like made me feel very welcome and safe, and I loved it. Loved it.
Good. It's funny. It's been a kind of recurring theme on this show over the last 21 weeks. I can't believe I've been doing it this long.
God.
Yeah. But it's been a recurring theme with so many actors who go to drama school really young, myself included, and we're just not ready. It's too much, it's too overwhelming, and you either step back and redo a year, or people don't finish. And I'm delighted to say that all those careers and all the people who did that have all gone on to work. So,
well, I think it's just, I think it was important. I wasn't ready to go. And then I loved Wales. I loved, I got a place in Cardiff, and I just couldn't settle there. I just couldn't settle at all. And, and I knew some people on the course as well. I didn't know anybody at Mountview, but I just couldn't settle. I wasn't ready to go. So I didn't go. And in that year out, I got a job. I worked full time in the butchers, and I saved up, and I auditioned for drama school. I wanted to make sure that mentally, I really knew that I wanted to go. Mm-hmm. And by come December of that year of me dropping out, I think it was 94, it would have been December 94, I knew, yeah, next year I'm going to drama school, wherever it may be. I'll audition to loads, and I audition to a few places, but Mountview was always my number one choice.
And so you've said that musical theatre is your first love, but ironically, to date, you have not done a professional musical yet. You've sung on stage and sung loads, but you're yet to be in a musical, so we have to sort that out next year. I know. I can't be Marius anymore, and that's I've only just come to accept that. Really, God, no, don't. It's horrendous. I'll never be Sally Bowles.
Oh, So, but to be honest with you, I've had some lovely opportunities to sing in shows recently, and quite recently, just before lockdown as well. But I love it. It's a big passion of mine, and I love listening to musicals. I've been obsessed with Hamilton during lockdown because it's been on Disney Plus and things. So I love it. It's an escapism for me. I don't even go and watch it as a fellow actor. I'll go and enjoy it as a pure escapism. I don't go watch it to judge. I sit there and listen. And musical theatre does something to me. It always has done. I remember watching the Royal Variety performances when I was a kid and seeing the clips from the West End, which it seemed so out of touch for me in Llanrwst, that actually it's still a big love, and I still love going to the theatre now. I still love going to see musicals. It's a big passion, and one day one day I like to do one. Yeah, I really would.
And what are the musicals that you're passionate about that you'd love to do?
Oh, that's a great question.
Thénardier, I'd love that. Oh,
Thénardier, yeah. I mean,
yeah. I'll be
Thénardier
your
could be.
Mrs. T.
Oh,
Master
that'd
of
be
the
brilliant.
Apps.
Well, I've just seen a very good friend of mine, Steve Mayo, has just played Thénardier last year. Oh, and what a part! What a part! I'd like to have a go at Javert, maybe. I'd like to have a go at that, maybe one day. But I do. I mean, there's so many great shows. I like the Sondheim shows. I love Sweeney Todd. I'd like to have a go at Sweeney Todd. I think I did that at my final show at drama school, and I was too young to play it. And I think if I could pick one to have a go at, I mean, the thing is, I'm awful at keeping time in music. So rhythmically, I'm a nightmare, and I choose Sondheim to do a Sondheim. You know, a nightmare. So I'd need about 15 months rehearsals just for the songs, but yeah, Sweeney Todd. I'd love to do Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I'll be your Mrs. Lovett any day, darling.
Oh yes, that'd be brilliant.
Let's do it. Let's do a sci-fi version of Sweeney Todd.
Let's do that.
So just again to reiterate, anyone who's joined, we will be answering questions at the end if you don't mind. So going to plow on because we only have an hour, which is really quick. However, so straight into the West End to do a musical was not to be your destiny, as you went straight from drama school and ended up playing Ariel in The Tempest. Tell us a little bit about that experience, where that was, and just a little bit about how that was, your first big job.
It was just, yeah, I was in coming up to my last sort of couple of months at Mount View, and we'd just done Sweeney Todd, and I got myself an agent, and he got me a casting, and it was actually, I was encouraged at the time. I was working with a great director at Mount View called Maria Charles, and Maria was very, you can always sing, you know, but you constantly do acting as well. You know, you don't have to just do musical theatre. There is this, and there's a strong actor in there as well. She encouraged and things, and I got what you'd say an acting agent, an agent who did a bit of musical theatre, but he also did acting. He also did TV. He wasn't a specific musical theatre based agent, and he put me up for a couple of jobs, and one of them, and this was probably in about April of '98. He put me up for Ariel in The Tempest at Stafford Castle. They do a Shakespeare festival every year, and it's performed outdoors in the grounds of the castle. Stunning venue, amazing. They do it every year. And I bloody got it. I learned. They sent me. I had to learn Ariel's speech, and I've not really done a lot of Shakespeare. I got to be honest. We'd done a bit of Hamlet in our second year, and I'd been to see. I went to see King Lear at the RSC years ago with Robert Stevens, and you know, and I was bored. I've got to be honest. I was bored, but. And then I had to learn Ariel's speech. You are three men of sin, whom destiny, and I bloody got it. I got it, and it was an amazing experience. So I got a straight play, and I went, and they used to have like four big names in it, four big leads and it was Kelly Bright who was playing Miranda, who's currently on EastEnders. She's an amazing actress, Kelly Bright. Amazing. And then there was a guy from Neighbours called Benjamin McNair, who was playing Orlando. I think his name's Orlando. I can't remember now. No, maybe it's not Orlando. But yeah, and then Barry Foster was Prospero, and Barry Foster was Vanderbilt. So he was a really classic actor, really. And I was just thrown in with a group of older actors and turns who were just amazing. And I just learned so much of them. I just loved every second of it. And you know what? I played Ariel, and I was dressed head to toe in white lycra. Wow. Ariel's a fairy, I might add. And believe me, I'm not built like a fairy.
And how did you find the language? Was that ever daunting, or did you just kind of embrace it and eat that? I
embraced it. I worked hard. I got all the help from the ardent Shakespeare's words. I learned it. I learned what it would mean in modern English and everything. And I just guess I just had a natural knack for the language, the vowels, being Welsh, sing it, relish it, embellish the words, get your tongue around the beautiful language of it. And actually, until this day, actually, The Tempest is my favourite Shakespeare play. I've done it in English, and I've done it in Welsh as well.
Wow.
I played and I played Caliban in Welsh. to doing it in Welsh, which was just, I think I understood it more in English than I did it. It was just, yeah. So it's a wonderful play, The Tempest.
I mean, speaking of being fluent in Welsh, obviously, because you're completely bilingual, and I wanted to ask you if you, and the only way I can sort of compare it is like, I am fluent in Afrikaans, being from South Africa, but I don't get to speak it every day anymore. So I would be, right now, if I was cast tomorrow in an Afrikaans drama, I can still understand it, I can still read it, I can still speak it, but I don't think in Afrikaans anymore, I think in English. And do you ever have that with Welsh?
Oh, 100%. I am fluent in it, and I'm a first language English speaker. And English was spoken at home with my mum and dad and things, and I learned Welsh in school, so I became bilingual through that, and I just kept it going.
Yeah.
And everybody can learn. Everybody can speak a bit of Welsh in Llanrwst. Some fluently, some speak it as a first language, some a bit double Dutch, some a bit, you know, a bit of everything. But I just kept it going, and I kind of lost it a bit when I went to London. I must admit, I kind of did, because I wasn't really speaking it on a daily basis. That was it. I don't think in Welsh. I don't dream in Welsh, and I wasn't really, you know, we didn't have mobile phones then to get in touch and speak to my Welsh mates and stuff. So I kind of lost it for a bit. So when I did get a Welsh job, I could read it no problem and understand it no problem. But getting into the knack of speaking it again, I was very, very paranoid and insecure. But you know, it's use it or lose it, I think, you know what I mean? And luckily, the Welsh language is getting stronger and stronger year on year in now. So it's great. And I speak it as often as I can now. So it's, yeah, I'm very proud of it. And I'm so glad that I learned it and kept it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's another string to your bow, isn't it? It's another thing to have, which in our business is kind of essential.
You need as many bows as you can, love.
Exactly. So you have had and continue to have a wonderful stage career, and you've pretty much done everything apart from a musical, but pretty much everything from classical texts, comedies, panto, Shakespeare. Do you have a preference when it comes to sort of dramatic roles versus comedic roles, or not?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think I would like to do more comedy. I think I have done more sort of dramatic roles and played some real life characters on stage as well. And the roles that I've played, I've done like Brian Friel plays and a Mammoth. They're all quite deep and darker sort of characters and more dramatic sort of still sort of characters. But I do love comedy. I'm a big fan of comedy. I've got a big passion for it, and it's something I'd like to do. You know, I've done an Acheborn, which was amazing. That was great actually. But I don't really have massive preference really at all when it comes to it. I you know, if it feels right to me, then I'll do it. You know what I mean? And I would like to do more comedy, but then again, you can't really be choosy, can we?
Well, yeah. I mean, no. You worked a lot with Theatr Cleared in Wales, and I wondered how you originally became involved with them.
Yeah, that was really my second sort of job, really. I did Ariel in The Tempest, and that was 1998. And then I didn't do, I did a little bit of filming that year, first sort of telly job. And then I wanted to go to Theatr Cleared. So a couple of people have said to me, you need to go and work. Theatr Cleared was my local theatre as well, which I went to when I was a kid, and I watched productions there. And it was only like, you know, half an hour from my mum and dad's house and things. So I wanted to go there. And at the time, just as I was leaving Mount View, Theatr Cleared was about to close. It was about to shut down. It was days away. It was on its arse. And a huge sort of arts building was going to close. And if it would have closed then, it would have closed forever, because nothing would have rescued it. And Terry Hands stepped in and said, let me see what I can do to sort of revive it, and let me have a look at it. And he literally dragged it off its arse, and it became this colossus of theatre in Wales, where it just produced, where he was there for 17 years as the artistic director. And from 99, pretty much right up until, you know, a couple of years ago, I was involved in over 26, 27 productions with Theatr Cleared. Yeah, and it's where I went back to drama school there. I learnt everything there. I learned about life. I met friends now, real friends for life. My best mate there. I've met and learned so much and worked with so many amazing people. Had crazy times, had sad times. Really lived the life. It's a huge chapter of my life there, and it's all thanks to Terry Hands, who sadly passed away at the beginning of this year. And he was just a colossus of the theatre. And Theatre Crew, it is what it is now because of Terry, and it's in great hands now with Tamara Harvey. So I just loved it, and it was always my second job in '99, and it was just brilliant. It was real. It was proper theatre. I learned so much, and you never stop learning. You never stop learning.
No. Absolutely.
But it was just a joy. I'm very proud of it. And then Terry made me an associate of the theatre then in 2005, and I still am to this day. Very proud of the place. Yeah.
And what do you have any kind of favourite productions from all the years that you've worked there, or one or two?
Oh yeah. There's some been brilliant ones. One that springs to mind is The Aristocrats by Brian Friel. Aristocrats, directed by Kate Wasserberg, A Chorus of Disapproval that Terry directed, Alan Ayckbourn, absolutely amazing. And in very, very early days, we did A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Dog, which is short Dylan Thomas stories with 5 lads, 5 of my best mates that I've known since I was like 15, 16 from youth theatre. So that was carnage at times, but really happy memories. And then I did Shakespeare with Terry. I did 12th Night and As You Like It with Terry, and it was just a masterclass because he ran the RSC for 25 years.
Oh.
And once or twice a week you'd have sonnet classes with him and master classes of how to speak the language, and he would just tell you everything about it. It was you couldn't put a price on it with Terry. When you did Shakespeare with Terry. So those were happy days. I did 12th Night and I did As You Like It with him, and it's just brilliant happy days.
Amazing. And then your first telly job was a fun thing called Fun at the Funeral Parlour.
Yes, it was.
Which saw you playing a sort of young detective. How did that job come your way?
Through a friend who I did the Tempest with in Stafford. I met a guy on that job, a lovely guy called Alex Lowe. And Alex is probably better known these days for I'm going to blow his cover now. He is Barry from Watford, if anybody knows who Barry from Watford is. He's a character with Angelos. And so Alex was always involved in comedy and always he was involved with the Peter Kay thing. And he was also involved a lot with the guys from the Fast Show.
Oh,
at the time.
I love the Fast Show.
And he would always come up as a little character. He's a great character, a great comic character actor. And he got this job, and it was written by the guys from the Fast Show. It was written actually by Rhys Thomas, and Charlie Higson, and they were filming, and they needed a Welsh. It was set in Wales, in a funeral parlour in Wales, and they needed a Welsh detective. And Alex recommended me to the director, and I just got offered it. So it was my first telly, and I went back to play a different character in the set. But then what was amazing about it is I did the first couple of scenes just myself with that and Alex, who I knew, and another good friend of mine called Will Thomas, who Torchwood fans will know as Gwen's dad from Torchwood. And I did the scenes with him, and then each sort of episode was a spoof of a movie. So there was there was like a wolf on the hunt and stuff. So they were, and they had to close down the town because there was a wolf killing people. So it was like a bit like a Jaws spoof.
Yeah.
And Tom Baker was in it, and Tom Baker played Robert Shaw character. You all know me, you all know my name. I'll catch that wolf for your head, tail, hold it. And so I was working with Tom Baker and Mark Williams, and I spent a night in the hotel the night before in the bar with Mark Williams, who's just amazing, and Tom Baker. And I didn't have a clue what was on the horizon for me at the time, but Tom was a legend.
How amazing! Wow, that's such a cool story. Your first recurring role came in the Welsh language series Treflan. Well done. Thank you. And then you followed that up with, now tell us how to pronounce this, Tipyn o'r Stad.
Very good. Tipyn o'r Stad. Yeah, very good. Treflan was great. Treflan was great. It was a period drama. based on the novels of Daniel Owen, who actually came from Mould, where Theatre Clwyd was. So there's a bit of a link there. And I did 3 series of Trevelyan, and it was great. It was it really sort of cut my teeth in front of the camera, bit of camera time, which you can't really teach until you do it. You know what I mean, and stuff and all that. And then when you
feel to kind of go.
Oh, it's so nerve wracking. But I had a brilliant director called Tim Lynn who just went, look, don't worry, we'll do it again, 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 do it again. And they shot it on film. It was amazing. It was really good.
Yeah.
So that experience was really great. I was going in and doing they were doing like 7-6 pages a day on that. So I could take my time, really take my time. And he would bring in close-ups and say, you don't have to move there, keep still for me. And he would talk you through it from the monitor as he was filming. So that was great. And then the other one, Tip and a Start, was the kind of polar opposite. It was basically like, it was in EastEnders set in North Wales in Carnarvon. And that was a fast turnaround. Where I would do 6 pages a day on Trevelyan, I'd do like about 25, 30 on Tip and a Start, and it was fast. Basically like a little Welsh language soap, but it was on about twice a week, and it was great fun. So I really learned some good camera time on that.
Yeah, and as you said, there are things that you just can't learn unless you're on a set. One of my
the jargon, everything about it, the hanging around. You've got to get. It's a different experience. Yeah.
One of my favourite stories, speaking of the jargon, is I worked with a really lovely actress called Sophie Powles, and when her first telly job, the cameraman kept, or like the guys who, all the kind of assistant cameramen and the guys doing the focus pulling, kept coming up to her and going, do you want a sausage? Do you want a sausage? And she was like, no,
yeah.
And then finally somebody was like, do you want a sausage? And she was like, guys, I'm vegetarian. I don't know sausages for me. And of course it's the kind of sausage that they put down on
Put down for the mark. Oh God.
To mark your spot if they're doing different camera angles, because obviously you can't walk into the shot and go like this. So you can feel a big kind of wedge sausage.
Oh, it's fine. I was looking down when it's back in front of you. As horrible, but great experience and great to learn, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So jumping back to your stage career for a minute, you played in 2005. You ended up playing very famous English actor Harry Seacombe in Ying Tong, A Walk with the Goons, and that marked your West End debut. Was that quite daunting, taking on somebody who it's an interesting story, that one, because Harry, very famous, being in the Goons, and obviously for big Welsh tenor and all that. And I was asked to do a workshop of that play about 2 years before that. Again, somebody knew I had a loud voice, was Welsh, and I went into audition just for the workshop for a week, and I could do a little bit of a Harry Seacombe impression. Yeah.
However, I don't really look like Harry Seacombe. Harry Seacombe was really short and rotund, you know. And they did a workshop, and then about 6 months later, we did another workshop of it, and it was so good. Roy Smiles wrote it, and I always knew that I could do the voice, but I would never be right for it. So I'd heard that they're going to do Ying Tong, and I knew that I wasn't right for it, so it's fine. So they went to West Yorkshire Playhouse to do Ying Tong, A Walk with the Goons, and my best friend, Christian Patterson, was perfect for Harry Seacombe. Perfect for it. He got the part, and he did it, quite rightly so. On stage, amazing. And then it was such a success, it had a West End transfer. So because it came into the West End, they needed... Because they came into the West End, you know where this is going. Because they came into the West End, they needed understudies. Okay, they needed understudies, so they could only afford 2. So I understudied Christian because I'd done the workshop, thinking he's not going to go on. It's an hour and a half. It's fine. He does it. He doesn't drink. He lives like a saint, you know, and stuff. And I understudied Wallace Greenslade. He was a 4-hander. Another guy understudied Sellers and Milligan, and we opened, and I took it easy in rehearsals, didn't even look at it, but I knew the words, I knew the lines and stuff and things, and we opened, and they did press night. It was a huge success. 2 days after press night, Christian got pneumonia, right? I had to go on. I went on. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I had to go on in a fat suit and everything. So I played Harry Seacombe for a while Christian recovered. And sadly, during the time that I was playing Harry Seacombe, we got our notice to close as well. So I had to phone Christian and say, mate, you better hurry up and come back because we're about to close. So it was my West End debut, but in really sort of roundabout circumstances.
Yeah, so a bittersweet one, I think.
Yeah.
But you know, and those things happen as well. As you said, you do it because it's your best mate. You don't think the person's going to go off, and then there
And
you
you
are.
don't, and I tell you what, you never ever, or any understudy, you bloody learn your stuff, because anything can happen. Anything can happen. And I learned that. And it was a good learning curve for me. And I loved it. I'm a big fan of the Goons, because they were class. So I studied them a bit, and I learned a lot about Spike Milligan, Peter Sellers, and Harry Seacombe, and they were special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And really the front runners, or the forerunners, or the forefathers
Of everything.
for all these comedians, for Python, for all the,
For
you know,
everything.
everyone.
Right, for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Jumping into your telly career again, just before we get to Torchwood, you did a 6-parter kind of family series with lovely Robson Green called Rocket Man,
Yeah.
which sounds like such a sort of lovely premise about a guy trying to build a spaceship to jettison his wife's ashes into space.
Yes.
Now, I obviously wasn't living in this country when this was on television, but I managed to find a little bit, and you played this character called Shiner. And it really struck me, because I know you personally, obviously, and I've seen your large body of work. That sounded like it was going somewhere else. And he had such vulnerability, Shiner, because he had real vulnerability, but was also a bit of a bumbling bloke and a bit, you know. And I think that you really, really excel at playing these characters who are like everyman, but it's not all of what Kai is. So my question is, how do you access that side of you?
I'm a sensitive soul at heart, and actually Shiner was a gift of a part, really. I loved that job so much. I had the 6 happiest months, I think, in 2005 in Newcastle, and it was written so well. And he was likable, he was lovable, he was funny, he was daft, he was crap with money, he was crap with relationships, he was crap with that. So a little bit like myself, but it was just, and the sensitive side of things, you know, showing your vulnerability, I think is a great way to open yourself up to the camera and to the audience and stuff, you know, lets them in. Yeah. And I quite enjoy that, you know, play with your, you know, wear your heart on your sleeve. And Shiner was, you know, surrounded by a gang of men there, and he wasn't scared to wear his heart on his sleeve. He didn't ask for help, I think, at the time when he needed it, if I remember rightly. But when he finally did, the lads turned around and helped him, and it was just nice. And I think I just sort of become the boy that I always have been from Wales, the homesick mammy's boy, really, who is sensitive inside. And quite emotional if I want to be, but I think I just try and tap into that, and I really enjoy playing the softer, vulnerable side of scenes, the emotional scenes, you know. I think, and you just do it nice and simple, let the audience in, and you know, let them cry for you and stuff. But yeah, a great job, and Robson's a legend.
Yeah, well, it's a really, if people can get hold of it, I really urge you to watch it, because it really.
I love it to be around. It's not around, and they're showing so many things on iPlayer. It was just a classic Sunday night, 8 o'clock. You didn't have to think too much about it, but it was funny, and it was a really heartwarming story, and a great bunch of guys, a really great bunch of guys.
Fab. And then in 2006, along came a little show called Torchwood. So tell us a little bit about your audition for Torchwood, and then how long you had to wait before finding out. That
awful.
Terrible.
Oh God. Do you know, when we did Rocket Man, one of the producers on Rocket Man was Julie Gardner. Mm-hmm. So I never met her at the time, but I know she would have seen it. And then so I did Rocket Man, and then I went back to Theatre Clwyd to do a chorus of Disapproval. And during this time, I think, of Rocket Man, it all sort of kicked off that Russell was bringing back Doctor Who with Christopher and Billy.
Right.
And it was huge. It went crazy, went bananas. And then David took over, and it was even bigger, and it was all set in Cardiff. And then that year, about 2006, I think, we'd heard that there is going to be a spin-off of Doctor Who.
Right.
Set in Cardiff, about an alien crime fighting team set in Cardiff, and Russell doing it. And so pretty much every actor and actress in Wales got on the phone to the agent and said, "Get me seen for Torchwood. Get me in." And I missed the general auditions for it. I kind of missed, because I was doing a chorus of approval, didn't think much of it. Heard that it's going to be John Barrowman
Right.
and Eve Miles leading the team. I didn't think much more. I knew Eve before, old friends, and then out of the blue, then my agent got me a meeting with Andy Pryor.
Right.
General meeting, lovely Andy, and I went in
Andy.
and met Andy, and he had an assistant at the time called Andy
Yeah.
Briley, now a lovely casting director.
Yes.
And they got me to read a couple of scenes from Doctor Who, because they'd never met me. So it was a good old-fashioned general meeting with a casting director that don't seem to happen anymore. And then I read for them, went away, had a lovely meeting with them, and then about a few days later they said they'd like you to go in and read for the role of Reese, which is the husband of Gwen, semi-regular in Torchwood. I was, yes, fucking great. We got the script. It was amazing. Learned it. Went into London to the Baptist Church on Shaftesbury Avenue and met Brian Kelly, the director. Andy Pryor was there, and Sophie Fonta, the producer. And I read with Sophie and Andy and had a little chat with Brian. And it was the first 3 scenes that you see of Reese when he's sitting in the house and saying, "Banana boat's been round," and all that. "Where have you been?" Nothing massive, nothing too meaty. Just me and myself, just being a Welsh guy kind of thing. And it went well, really good. Andy Pryor walked me to the lift and went, "Oh, Dan, that was great, Kai, thanks. Ta-da."
And then it's the worst bit for an actor.
And then it's like, okay, that's it. And then you got to go, and then you just got to, not that we can, you've just got to let it go. And I got a call. I was in Crouch End. We were living in Crouch End at the time. My agent called a week later, and he said, "Great news, you got Torchwood." So that was it. But they didn't know. And it's great, amazing. And they didn't know what they were going to do with Reese. Reese was going to be in it for about 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah.
That was it. I went to the read through and met everybody. It was an unreal event and had a great night. And I spoke to Richard Stokes and Richard Stokes, the producer, and I said, "What's the plan for Reese?" He went, "Well, he's going to be in about 5 or 6 episodes, and then we don't really know, but he's going to be around. We don't really know what's going to happen and all that." I went, "Okay, great," but I would have been happy just being in 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Eve pulled me to one side in her own style that Eve can, like, and she went, listen, we've got to make these fucking fuckers work. We've got to make people fall in love with them, okay? Gwen and Reese have got to be real. They've got to be in love. They've got to be electric. We've got to make the audience believe that Gwen and Reese are real, and they've got to come on the journey with us. You are the heart of the show, all this. And she gave me this big pep talk, and it was true. She knew exactly what this couple needed to be.
Yeah.
And with her guidance and her talk that night, Reese grew from that, I think. And we just worked really well. You can't not have a chemistry with her anyway, because she's just unreal. And it just became this huge thing. And Reese is a very killable character, very killable.
And also, there's all over the kind of like all over the internet. There are all these facts about how he was originally just going to last till the end of the first season. The plan was always to kill him off, and it was single-handedly because of you and your portrayal, and perhaps because of Eve's conversation with you, that absolutely changed all of that forever, because you are the moral compass. The character was the moral compass and the heart of the show, and we have to have that. You have to have the
it was just
as well, you know.
They were going to kill him off. Richard Stokes phoned me then. He said he said to me, "Look, in episode 11 of season 1, the character of Reese dies, but in episode 12, we're going to open the rift, reverse time, and bring you back to life."
I love that. Now, just looking at the time, of course, we've run over and we've only just started to get here. So we have a choice. We can either answer some of the questions now, and then if you're free, we could jump back on and finish the interview, because I have a few more questions, obviously quite a bit more about Torchwood. Or
let's do that.
We could, should we do that in case people can't rejoin?
Yeah.
Do something I've not done before. We're going to answer some questions mid-go. I'm just going to answer these. How would Reese and Gwen handle lockdown, pandemic, no access to Torchwood, etc.? Nice to see you doing well.
How lovely. Thank you very much. Just before, literally 3 days before the whole country went into lockdown, I recorded a big finish.
Yes.
And it was about Gwen and Reese being locked away somewhere in Scandinavia, I think, because they had to be locked and kept in a safe house. And it was Reese and Gwen in this house, safe and not allowed out. And they
Oh,
had to cope on this big domestic stuff going on with Gwen and Reese, another great tortured adventure coming up. They'd cope brilliantly. He would get on her nerves. They'd argue, but Reese would just love being home. Reese would just enjoy the fact that she's home. Gwen's
yes,
home.
exactly.
Yeah.
um, right, so we're going to answer that question. We're going to just carry on for a minute because it's going to get back to that very thing. One of the things I think that makes Torchwood work so brilliantly is the absolute chemistry between all of you. And I wondered if that was there. I know you and Eve said you immediately hit it off and you knew her from before, but I wondered if that chemistry was there right from the get-go, from like the table read onwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It really was. It was that night in Cardiff was that first read through. The table read is incredible, and of course, it's led by John. Of course, John is this magnet. He's like a medicine. He's the force of nature that he is. He, you know, everybody lucky enough to meet John will tell you what you see is what you get. And he drove it, and Eve matches him probably more with power and energy. Actually, she's, you know, they are the perfect leading sort of actors to sort of lead the show, and they're full of joy. They pick you up. Byrne got on great. The Byrne and Naoko, Gareth, myself. It was just joyful.
Yeah,
and also
worked.
Russell T. Davis,
Oh, yeah.
the master. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Right. So here's one. Do you ever forget your lines?
Yes, of course. Every actor forgets their lines. It's and that's part of that's the scary thing about going on stage live and getting more and more nervous about it now. But you know what you need to do is you need to learn your lines so well that if you do forget your lines, at least you know what you're supposed to be saying, so you can make it up.
Exactly. We're going to get to the fitness stuff, baby Newt, at the end. I don't want to talk about that now, if that's all right, but I will be coming to that. Is there some fun anecdote from when you filmed Torchwood that you can tell us? I guess, do you have any favorite moments from the show?
I have so many favorite moments. Every day was different. And if you've been to conventions and Comic Cons and seen our panels,
yeah,
you know, they're X-rated panels, and
oh,
you know,
I know.
you know, so and most of them involve John and
yes.
and John and his body and parts of John's body, you know, that we've all, you know, been witness to on the set of Tortured, which is just hilarious, and lots of practical jokes. John would always try and hide and jump out on Eve and scare her.
Yeah.
It was more fun. We worked hard, and it was just fun off camera. You know, we went out a lot in Cardiff and played hard as well, you know, and had big nights out. But John was so generous that we'd go out for dinner. We'd have great laughs down the bed. We just all got on so well because it was so exciting.
But you know what, you can really see it, and you really see, like, you and John seem to have a genuine love for one another off camera too. Do you still remember any of the words to "I Am Barrow Man"?
Yes, of course I do. I need to let me just have a sip of my
yes.
honey and ginger.
Lubricate your throat for a minute. I'll see if there's another question while we do this.
I am Barrow Man. I am a clone of human perfection.
So true.
That'll do. So come take a look.
I think one of the other things that made Torchwood so fantastic, apart from the fact that we had this sort of matinee idol, good-looking guy leading it, this great sort of chemistry between this couple, and then all the other two that, you know, that really formed the strong group, was also the juxtaposition of aliens and whales, as you said.
I know.
Sort of technically shouldn't work, but it does.
It literally, there's weevils roaming the sewers of Cardiff. There's an underground hub outside the Millennium Centre where the water tower is. That if you stand on the middle slab and just stand there and, you know, wait for 10 seconds, it lowers you down to an underground hub that has a flying pterodactyl there.
I know. Amazing. Which looks so real, because it is.
Which most people see on a Saturday night in Cardiff anyway. You know what
I mean? Exactly. I think another thing that also helped to really set its identity from Doctor Who was the fact that it was quite sweary. And I love that because it sort of made it real. And
It was adult. It was adult, wasn't it? It was great, yeah.
yeah, and then also the kind of adult content. It dealt with sexuality and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Did you guys get any flack at the time from
Not
that?
at all.
No?
Didn't get any flack at all. People loved Torchwood. People loved it, and people still do. It
Yeah.
was a bigger. I think it was a bigger hit than we imagined it ever to be. Really, spin-offs don't really work. They're not. It's not a great thing, but I think people are still appreciating the size of and how good Torchwood was now. It really was. I think it was at its best when it was in Cardiff, and then first early series. Don't get me wrong, but I think it was so popular. People loved it, and the fans are diehard, loyal.
Yeah, sci-fi fans are the best fandom.
They are.
It's the best fandom in the world.
I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. Blows me away.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed by the just the loyalty and support and the knowledge of the show and things. I think it's sci-fi. They rule, man. They really do, and I can't say that enough. They really are incredible.
So as the show started on BBC Three, then moved to BBC Two, then BBC One, and that must have been an amazing feeling to have that every year. That it was just moving forward all the time.
Yeah, it was the first show to do that.
Yeah.
At the time, it broke all the records on BBC Three with the viewing figures. Then Series 2 went onto that onto BBC Two when the old sort of X-Files slot, because X-Files was on BBC Two, and they thought, oh, that'd be the nice sci-fi show for BBC Two, and I thought, yeah, it's a good BBC Two show. But then what they had at their sleeve was Children of Earth, and that was just incredible. It was the first time they'd done that event television, 5 nights. 5 episodes, 1 week. Unreal.
Yeah, and that was sort of before everybody was streaming everything immediately. So it was
the first binge watch, yeah. It was the first proper binge watch. And every night, every morning we were getting the figures through from the guys in the office going, it's going through the roof, it's going through the roof. And it was really good. It was so good, Children of Earth.
And when was the first time you personally realized that you were in like a massive hit?
I don't know really. I think it's when I got asked to go to America to do conventions, and then because I sort of just carried on cracking on doing little jobs in between, and then I was getting recognised quite a lot, and and going, oh yeah, that's the guy, and that was lovely and things. But then the conventions came along, and you go, yeah, okay, we'll come along. We don't realise, and then I went to somewhere with John and everybody. It wasn't Dragon Con, it could have been Philly, Wizard World, somewhere like that. And the room, there was thousands in this room.
Yeah.
Thousands. And they just went bananas for us. And it was just, I couldn't believe it. And John was saying, they're going to fucking love us. They're going to go crazy. Yeah. And yeah, it was like, Jesus Christ. And then we got asked to go to Australia to do a convention. So when you go, this is worldwide. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it's an extraordinary feeling, isn't it? When you're just like, what? They're all here to see us?
Well, they see it. I'll never get bored of it. I miss the cons, actually. We all do. But yeah, there was a time, I think it was Philadelphia. I think it's on YouTube. But it was just mind blowing.
Yeah. And then for the final season, which ended up being the final season, even though it shouldn't have been, you guys ended up going off to America, where you filmed on the Warner Brothers lot in Los Angeles, in Hollywood. So cool. How was your Hollywood experience?
Unbelievable. Like FedCon was good. Unbelievable. And quite hard to believe now when I look back. It was, God, it's nearly 10 years ago. You know what I mean? And my wife and my son came out there, and we lived there. We lived there for six months. And
where did you live in LA?
West Hollywood, just off Beverly Boulevard.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And we had to, they relocated us, and we were told you're gonna have to drive yourself to the Warner Brothers lot every day. And he went, right. Yeah. I've been to America for like a few weekends for cons. Never driven. Had to hire a car at the airport, LAX. Drove to find the apartment where we were. It all went very smoothly because they helped us out lovely. But driving through LA in the early mornings over the Hollywood Hills, down Sunset, and over Studio City to the Warner Brothers lot, and seeing that water tank, unreal. And we were on the old ER stage.
Oh, and, I know it well. I filmed on there quite a bit.
That's it.
So
Yeah,
went
we were
very
there.
well. Yeah.
And then you get the plaques, don't you? The bronze plaques, which tells you what's filmed there
Yeah.
since. Like, and Casablanca was filmed on
I
there,
know. And
and then
when you go
literally
to
around.
the commissary for lunch and you're just like, oh
Yeah.
my God, there's Meryl Streep, there's so-and-so. It's like, oh!
Well, he was. DiCaprio was filming the J. Edgar Hoover
Yeah.
movie at the time, and then directly opposite our stage, on the other, literally across the road, was the 2.5 Men stage.
Oh,
and
amazing.
it was when Charlie Sheen was in it, and around the corner from that was the Friends stage. It was ridiculous. And then we shot on location, so I was driving all over. It was incredible experience. Loved it.
And during that season, you got to do quite fantastic work with the wonderful Bill Pullman. How was that experience?
And he's amazing.
Yeah.
He is just the most incredible man. Me and Eve met. Our first night filming was on the Warner Brothers lot. John had been in, and we were filming through the night. For some reason, we had to film through the night there for crew hours or something. So we started our scene, and he was petrified. I was petrified, and then we were told, "Oh, Bill's coming down to watch you, and he wants to introduce himself to you."
You're like, great.
What? You're joking? And he came down and watched it from behind the monitor, and he came and he introduced himself, and then he came to my trailer and he knocked on my door and said, Kai, yeah, it's Bill. That's what, outside talking to Bill Pullman on the Warner Brothers lot about Ant and Dec, because he'd just done this Alien Auto. I know Ant and Dec, of course. And I'm like, oh my God, Bill fucking Pullman. He is a beautiful man. Beautiful man.
And generous spirit, I think, like really just what a joy and what a treat.
Beautiful man.
Would you ever go back to LA? Is that something that you'd love to do?
I would go back to LA like a shot. I'd go back for a vacation like a shot, and I'd go back only if I had work on offer.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. That's the best way to do LA.
I don't think I'd go there and look for work, but maybe in your early 20s and you're single and things, go and give it a go, and good luck to everybody who wants to do it. But I'd like to go back and visit with my family again, and I think. Yeah, if job offer, I'd go back like a shot. Great place.
Yeah. And unfortunately, as we know now, that was the final season, even though the show was never actually officially cancelled.
Yeah.
So do you have any kind of inkling that it may one day, could it happen again?
No inkling at all. I really don't know. And I think people can campaign and do whatever they want. And certain cast members can campaign and do whatever they want and try their best to bring you back. There's only one person who can do that, and that's Russell T Davies. It's his show. So they can drum up support and they can do it and keep the buzz happening. And the fans, like I mentioned, are diehards. They're out there. The audience is there for it. There's no doubt about it. But only one man can make that decision, and that's Russell.
Yeah.
And that's Russell.
Well, maybe we need a Torchwood and a Stargate revival. Just putting that out into the universe.
My God,
a
yeah.
Crossover.
Love a crossover.
No, I'm just looking at the time because we went off and then came back on. So I don't know how much time we've got, and I don't want people not to get their questions answered. So let's have a little look. Here's one. Any dream role in the future from any genre?
Oh, brilliant question. I'd like to dream role wise. I'd like to maybe do something, a psychological thriller. I'd like to do something, God, yeah, like a Dexter, those sort of roles. Those kind of roles are really good. Yeah. I'd like something spooky and serial killer-esque, dark, psychological. I love those sort of books.
Yeah.
And I think I'd like to do something like that. My dream would be to be in Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny. Why? What is it about Larry David?
I love Larry David. I love the improvised comedy that they do. It's the best show on telly, and I love it. Yeah.
Amazing. Here's one. Your thoughts on a Reese action figure?
I modelled for one.
Oh.
I modelled for one, but it sadly never got made. So there's a prototype somewhere. If you find it.
Speak to this guy. Can you see up there? I'm just moving the camera. There's my Hathor action figure up there in the corner. Up. Don't see my fingers.
I have got
there.
A Reese. There is a Reese Funko. They're called Funkos.
Oh yeah, Funko Pops.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool.
And those are cool. Yeah.
We've we've got to track it down, guys.
When I modelled for the Reese one, I looked more like somebody who you see on the top of a darts trophy, really. So yeah.
Right, so post Torchwood, you kept very busy with many guest roles on Doc Martin, Doctors, Da Vinci's Demons, The Syndicate, Being Human. Now, who did you play in Being Human?
Can't remember his name, but it was a lovely guest role in so I can't remember what the season is, but it was just great. And I worked with Russell Tovey, and he was basically a sex dogger. He was a dogger who loved and Russell Tovey was running through the woods with a chicken and about to transform into the wolf, and he came across a clearing in the woods with all these doggers were, and Michael went, "Hey, whoa, slow down, come and join us, mate." And he got Colin Teague, who directed a lot of Torchwood, so that was good. Great fun. What a show that was, by the way.
Yes. Oh, so good. So good. That could do with a revival too, actually. Yeah, or an extension, maybe not a revival.
Yeah, wonderful show. Great fun to do.
And then you did a complete turnabout face, which we'll probably have to talk about in part 2, but we'll start now, where you played a character who is the antithesis of you. Really scary, really dark, arch manipulator, liar, and of course, a man who is a perpetrator of sexual abuse amongst children. And that was Pete Buchanan in Hollyoaks.
Yeah.
So, firstly, how did the role come to you? I mean, obviously you auditioned, but like how?
Yeah,
that's
my
not
agent.
A logical jump, you know.
No, it isn't. And my agent phoned me up at the time and said, "Look, there's this role in Hollyoaks, and they're having a bit of trouble finding somebody for it because of what it entails."
Yeah.
And I said, "Tell me what it entails." And he told me what it entails, and I went, "Absolutely, I want to tell the story."
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem at all. And I went the next day to London to meet the casting director Rick and Brian. I had a good chat about them. Spoke a lot about what I think these people are like. I do like these psychological thrillers. I like criminal profilers and things. So I did think that these guys are chameleons. These guys could be the nice on the front of the nicest guys in the world, but behind closed doors they have a dark secret. And then I must have said the right thing. Brian invited me up to Liverpool the next day.
Yeah.
The Friday to film, to do a screen test with the cast and meet some of the actresses who were going to be involved in the storyline. Did some scenes with them. Got the train home. Didn't have a clue. Got a phone call on the train. You got the job. You start Monday. That was it.
Wow. So for roles like that, how do you prepare? Because that is, you know, so far removed.
It's just so dark. It's so far removed. It's like it's into an abyss of a place. Really, it's in a black hole of a place that you don't even go to, and it's kind of like I knew that we were getting the support from the NSPCC.
Yeah.
And Hollyoaks.
Hold that thought. So it's giving me the countdown. So we're going to jump off. I'm going to save this to IGTV. Anyone who's missed it, you can go and watch the whole interview, and we'll pick up because I really want to talk about the NSPCC. They're so amazing.
Pleasure.
So see you all in a few minutes. Thank you, Kai. Have a sip of water. Hello. And so we are back. We're back for part 2. I'm actually just going to sort this light out. That's better. So yes, welcome back. Thank you for joining us, David. How are you? And thanks everyone for joining us. So Kai is back. Now I just need to figure out how to go live with you, Kai. Why is it not coming up? Ah, there we go. And for anyone who is just joining, we've been talking to Kai about his career thus far, his role in Torchwood, and we are just about to start talking to Kai about when he played a sexual abuser, a predator in Hollyoaks called Pete Buchanan. Can you hear me, Kai?
I can, darling.
Yay! Welcome back. So, you were saying you work very, very closely with the NSPCC, who are a remarkable charity. Yeah. And that must have been sort of equally harrowing, but also very rewarding because you knew you were being guided.
Hollyoaks deal with these issues annually. They
Yeah.
always do something, you know, for their demographic, whether it be bullying, whether it be eating disorders, whether it be rape, whether it be male rape, whether it be sexuality issues, you know, all sorts of amazing issues. Race, they deal with it, and they deal with it better than any other long running drama series on TV, in my opinion, because they get that demographic, they watch it and they listen.
Hmm.
So I knew that I'd be supported, and they said that you'd be supported by the NSPCC. And before we started filming, I went in and I met the people from the NSPCC. They came up and they brought with them some people who had been involved in this cycle that we were going to tell. And I met these people, and they were so brave. I met their parents, I met their friends, their families, the people who were looking after them, and the actresses and myself went around the room and we spoke to them. We asked them questions. They knew what they were doing. They'd been through the whole cycle, whole sad, traumatic cycle, and come out the other end.
Yeah.
And I just learned so much from them, and they were so brave that it made me even more determined to tell the story, and even more determined to do work for the NSPCC. And I visited the Childline offices in Liverpool as well, and to see the switchboard jammed with calls of young children, young adults trying to get through, is heartbreaking, really. So as far as going to a dark place for the role, I didn't really think much about it, because it said it in the script, and I wanted to tell the story, and I wanted to show the people who are watching how to deal with these characters and what these characters are like.
Yeah.
And to show, and Hollyoaks did it so well. They went from the beginning right through. There was no big soap ending for him. He wasn't pushed off a cliff. Didn't go up in a ball of flames. One of the victims didn't shoot him. He got accused. They were trying to let them know. People were not believing them. People didn't listen. Don't be silly. Can't be Pete. He's a lovely guy. Can't be, you know, all that happens. And that happens every day. They don't believe it until finally a bit of evidence pops through, and then he gets convicted, and then they go down and they get their comeuppance. Yeah. And Hollyoaks did it so well. I was very, very proud of it. I worked with the best people. I got best care. I was like, oh, it was a difficult part to play. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. Because doing it was a joy. Doing it was actually fine. It was after, really. It was just being, because I didn't really get. I did get recognised quite a bit for Tortured, but when you're in Hollyoaks, you get recognised all the time.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, like, were you recognised as this scary character, and how did you deal with that when that happened?
Yeah, I was. You know, there was no doubt about it. You know, I was. They called him Pedo Pete. You know, I called that was it. I was Pedo Pete all the time, really, especially around Liverpool train station, where I used to often wait for the train to get back to London and things. You know, yeah. But I never got any abuse, kind of thing. You know, and then people going, "How can you play that, mate? How the fuck? Whoa!" You know, and some people may have been a bit ignorant on Twitter or social media by like not separating the two, real life and the stories that we're trying to tell. But that's just their, you know, that's their lives and their choices and their education. But actually, I was very proud of the story, and it helped people. It helped people. We have evidence that it made people speak out. It got people convicted. You know, people. We did our job. Loved it.
And is that kind of one of the reasons why you became so involved with them as a charity, and then also with Click Sergeant?
Yeah, Click Sergeant actually is a teenage cancer charity, and my cousin back home in Wales, she sadly passed away a few years ago now, but she had brain tumours when she was very, very young, and Click Sergeant offers support to the families and the poorly children. They do such a wonderful job that I decided I wanted to raise a bit of money for them. They were really good. So I ran the marathon for them a couple of times, raised a bit of awareness for them and helped them raise a bit of money. Still very much support Click Sergeant. And again, when we were working with Hollyoaks, myself and Nadine, who I guess was the main sort of victim in the whole story, said, "Look, we got to do something. We should do something more than this." We said, "Look," I said, "I've done the marathon a couple of times. We should run the marathon for them." And she really said, yeah, let's do it. And we did that and raised a bit of awareness for that. And then I did it the following year, and I did it with Eve for the NSPCC as well. Yeah.
And are you still working with them? Are you still involved with working with them?
Yeah, I still get. I will do whatever whatever I can. If the NSPCC, if I can help them in any way, I will do. I haven't done a run for a while. I love my runs, and I haven't really done one for a while. So I'm sure. I'd like to do the London Marathon again, and I think I probably will do it for the NSPCC. Yeah.
So talk to me about the running, because like doing a marathon is literally, I think, my idea of hell. That would be like the seventh circle of hell.
Yeah, it's amazing, really. Once you got to get the bug. Once you start, you can't sort of. People do the couch to 5Ks and the couch to 2Ks, and people hate running and all that. Yeah. But then once you start, going a bit further every week, it becomes less about the running and more about the breathing and the clearing of the mind and the feeling that you get when you come back from a run.
Yes. And
that's the attractive part. And then, you've gone 20 minutes this week and come back and, oh God, I need, I'll have a shower after. Then you did another 30, then you did 30 minutes. And you get that bug. You get the bug of the feeling after.
Right.
And yeah, I just loved it. I just loved running, and I've always fancied a challenge, and yeah, do the London Marathon, why not?
Have you always loved running, or was that just?
I've always loved doing sport. I always have loved running in a way. I've always loved keeping fit, and I've always loved running because it helps with any sort of mental health problems that I'd had, and I think it really helps clearing my head. It's kind of a form of meditation. If I feel anxious or I feel a bit depressed, a run really helps me out. So it became something. It became a need as well as something that I enjoyed. I need to run. I need to run. I need to run. I need to go for a run. I need to go for a run. And I think it became that as well, because it's very good for anxiety and mental health.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day. Thankfully, once you left Hollyoaks, you really switched it up again for your next turn, which was, of course, the wonderful comedy, The Full Monty.
Oh, yeah.
Film with Robert Carlyle. How was that experience? And the first question I have to ask you was, what was it like having to remove your kit every night on stage?
It was fine. It was joyous. Once we'd done it once in rehearsals, we did a closed rehearsal room and got our kit off the six lads. Well, there we go. It's all out, bang, bang. And it's fine because it's literally done in a flash. They handle it so well. And it's a joy of a play. It's a joy of a show. Hugely popular. Yeah. Hugely popular. A producer's dream, really, because it's such a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
And as well as being, of course, people go and watch it for the full Monty at the end.
Yeah.
It's the film on stage. It's the film on stage. There's what you see in the film is there. So there's no massive climax or bits of until the very end, until the last 10 seconds of the play.
Yeah.
But the story is so uplifting and heartwarming about these six lads. That it's just a joy. And my part, I was just blessed to play Dave, which is the Mark Addy part. Yeah. It's the best. It's the best part in it, as far as I'm concerned. It's a joy. Him and Gaz, it's just lovely. Yeah. I've done it twice. I've done two big tours of it now, and great stuff.
Do you enjoy touring? I mean, it's
I enjoy. Yeah, it's what's nice is that I like going to see the big theatres. I like going to see the big, the cities and stuff. And it's not too long. It's been okay. I've done quite a bit of touring recently over the past couple of years now. So I don't know if I'm ready to do it again.
Well, who knows if we'll be able to. I mean, with all the theatres that have shut during this terrible
I mean, like I said earlier, I think I said right at the very beginning, we can't be choosy in this business anyway. So God knows what's going to happen. God knows.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Hopefully it'll all work out and we will be able to continue. Your most recent show was the Glee Club.
Yeah.
Where you get to sing on stage, right? So
yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah.
So were you guys in the middle of doing that when lockdown happened?
Yeah, we'd done two. We'd opened, and we were on our first venue of the tour, which happened to be Theatre Clwyd, believe it or not.
Oh,
And we finished in Theatre Crude on the Saturday,
yeah.
and we were due to have a week off due to touring that week anyway, and we never went back. We never went back. And you know, it had the potential, and even in the short time of the 4 weeks rehearsals and the week of tech, and then we did a week and a half in Doncaster and the week of Theatre Crude, even in that short time, I think it was my favourite job on theatre that I'd ever done.
Really?
Yeah. I'd met, it was without a joint. Best, wonderful director, Kate Wasserberg, and the cast were just a dream. We're just really, really, I just loved it. And it's a story about miners, a bit similar to the Full Monty, and the barbershop singers, and they were part of a variety club. Every year in the collieries up in Yorkshire, there'd be a summer gala, and all these collieries had a glee club of singers, the glee club singers, and they were quite. It was quite. What's the word I'm looking for? You know, I can't remember the word, but it was. You know, it was really quite. If you were in it, you were very lucky to be in it. You know, prestigious. Yeah, that's the word. So these guys could sing. These guys were proper singers and performers, you know, and they do act, and they do, but there'd only be like 6 women and a pianist. So we were the Glee Club singers, and it told the story of all these guys' lives that come together for this one gala, and all the way through there was some cracking songs, and we'd have a good sing. And
what kind of songs were they? Sort of classics or? Yeah,
kind of Rawhide.
Yes.
Rawhide.
Rolling.
You Always One You Love, Atchison Topeka, really sort of 20, sort of the Gay Ranchero, really nice,
great,
beautiful sort of 20 sort of feels to them, and American sort of really and beautiful songs, yeah.
And are there any plans for it to resume next year?
I would jump at the chance to, and I do hope that if it comes to, if theatres get up and running again, and I think Out of Joint would like to do it again. It's there. We were going to do it right through. We had a London run at the end of it as well. We were going to the Kiln Theatre for 5 weeks in June, so it was a really good job. And I think Out of Joint were really looking. And Out of Joint are a wonderful company, a touring company, and they were looking forward to really launch themselves back on the stage with a new artistic director, and I think they would like. I assume they'd like to do it again because it's ready to go again. Yeah. And I know pretty much. Yeah, we're all ready to go again if it goes again. So just fingers crossed, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's keep it firming. Yeah, you know. And just before we hand over to questions, and before we finish up, do you have anything professionally lined up once this is all over, or are you just taking it one day at a time like all of us?
Oh my God, one day at a time. Who knows? I do panto every year in Stoke, and we haven't been cancelled yet. So
okay, well, which panto are you doing this year then?
It's Cinderella at the Regent Theatre Stoke.
Lovely.
We haven't been cancelled yet. I'm going to be an ugly sister, and
fantastic.
It hasn't been cancelled yet. That's all I can say. I think it will be cancelled, but who knows?
We can
fingers
hope. Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. However, you have been busy during lockdown. You kept yourself busy and motivated because you sort of started to develop, and you're about to launch, or I'm not sure if it has already launched, a side business, which is your personal training. So tell us a little bit about that. Yeah,
I'm about to launch. Not quite ready yet. It's something that I've always been interested in. Always loved fitness. Always loved keeping healthy and looking after myself. And I've got to be said, I haven't always looked after myself. I haven't always been healthy at all, you know. But over the past few years, I've definitely sort of chosen a different path. And I've always. I love keeping fit. I love keeping healthy because it helps my mind. It helps my mental health, and it helps my sort of overall fitness and stuff. And I've always fancied doing. I've always gone to the gym, and I've always looked at personal trainers. And as well as an actor, I've always thought of going, what the bloody hell can I do to keep the wolves from the door when we're not doing it, and things like that, you know. And I was thinking about it. I thought about it last year a little bit, going, I'd like to maybe do a personal training course. And I've looked and scanned and looked at it a few times. And then lockdown happened, and I thought, you know what? If I don't do it now, I never will. And actually, I had a little look, little sort of investigating research into it, sort of thing, how what it entails, and could I do this? Is this a possibility? Can I do it alongside still trying to be an actor? Can I do this? And it all just fell into place really lovely. I can do it all. And actually, as the days have gone on, I've got more and more passionate about it. It's going to work out great. I've almost qualified as a personal trainer. I'm literally waiting for my 2 assignments to be marked, to come back to me. If I have to do a bit something else, that's it. But I'm weeks away from getting my certificates and be a fully qualified personal trainer and a senior fitness specialist and a corrective exercise specialist. I've worked hard. You know, you can do this 2 hours a week, but I've been doing it 2 hours a day, and I've loved it. And I have a new business starting called KOPT.
Lovely.
Excuse me. And I'm going to be putting it out there to help people. And it's going to be online. You can be anywhere in the world via technology. I can send you your home workouts or gym workouts, one-to-one.
Well, I might be your first customer.
Brilliant. Pleasure. One-to-one consultations with me. I can assist you with nutrition and everything. So that's my plan, and I'm launching it, and I can run that alongside still trying to sort of be an actor, and then actually helping people, and really sort of more about the message of healthy body, healthy mind, rather than sort of like, you know, superficial looking good. I want to be healthy heart, happy head kind of thing, you know.
Absolutely. And I feel like the world has had this massive shift right now anyway. Like this year, this virus, this thing has forced us all to kind of go, whoa, let me just look at my life and reevaluate and make some decisions. And it's much more about mind and health. How's
the bakery been?
It's really, well, we've been kind of lucky actually, because so many people who would normally be at work are at home. So we've actually benefited from that. We don't have as many wholesale customers, but people are coming in and spending more money, because also they can only come in one or two at a time.
Yeah.
So whereas before people would come in, get their bread, their pastries, their coffee and go, they're now coming in and getting, and we've also expanded and have fresh fruit and veg and made from deli products and really beautiful, beautiful fresh fruit and veg from Watts Farm. So, and the bread is just flying off the shelves. I mean, we closed for...
I do need to pop in. I've got to come.
Please do. It was quite funny because we closed for a good 2 months. And when we reopened, people were like, your bread! Well, just before we hand over for questions, I just wanted to say thank you so much for giving your time so generously and for chatting about your amazing career that has been varied and interesting, and long may it continue.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm well done for doing these, man. It's amazing, and you know, it's just been a joy. I always love seeing you at cons. So I was really, really grateful when you asked, so I'm chuffed, and hopefully, if I don't come up in for a coffee, I will see you on the road somewhere. But yeah, thank you so much.
I really hope that we get to do a con together soon. A real.
So maybe we could do it next year when the Lions are in South Africa. How about that?
That sounds good to me. All right, so the first question I have here is, hello Kai, why do you always tweet about Man U when it's common knowledge that your favourite team is in fact Charlton Athletic?
Who's that from?
Very pissed off. I don't have his name on it.
I know who that's from.
Oh, do you? I can look it up. Hang on.
His name's Craig Russell. That's Craig Russell, that is. I'm pretty certain it's Craig.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a big Charlton fan. I love Manchester United. Man United are my third favourite thing in the world.
What are your first two favourite things?
Well, my son and my wife.
Oh, how old is your beautiful son now?
10.
What?
10.
No.
Yeah, he's starting his final year in primary school Thursday. Yeah, ridiculous.
Oh my God, now I feel old. Well, somebody's saying, as it is your 45th birthday, I'm not sure we all need to know. Anyway, as it is your birthday on Friday, are you planning anything to celebrate?
Gonna go out for a bit of lunch, and I just no, it's not cricket. I've just bit of lunch, bit of cake, and a bit of Thai food at night.
Oh, lovely. I love Thai food. How
Yeah.
lovely. I think we've answered that one, which is that you've run 2 charity marathons. Do you still run? Very much so you do. What is your favorite role that you've played to date?
Ooh, it has to be Reese. It has to be Reese. Just because of the ongoing love and affection for him, and
Yeah.
it's just, you know, and he never dies doing the Big Finish stuff, and it has to be Reese. Reese is the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, I love that. Yes. Right, here we go. I'm front of house usher at Torch. What show were you in?
I'm the front of house usher at Torch Theatre. I was there, God, in 2000, and I did a brilliant play, Blue Remembered Hills, and I did the Christmas show was Pinocchio.
Right. There you go.
But my wife was there last year doing One Man, Two Governors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love that play. It's a great play. What did you think of the Torchwood Hub when you first went on set?
Couldn't believe it. Absolutely couldn't believe it. Eve burst into tears when she saw it for the first time. It was incredible. It was just like another world. Gosh, it was amazing. And what was amazing about it was they took us on there. And I first saw it when it was sort of just like wood and designed, and then they sort of decorated it.
Yeah.
And then you go sort of through the hub, and then you sort of just come off the set a bit, and there was literally a black curtain, just literally a black curtain, and then if you put your head through the black curtain, it was the TARDIS on the other side.
Wow.
And that was incredible.
Cool.
David's TARDIS. So it's incredible.
Amazing. Right, final 2 questions, and then we're going to let you go because you've given us so much of your lovely time. Do you have any convention appearances lined up?
Sadly, no, all cancelled. Oh, yeah. That's it. Yeah, sadly, no. Oh, I had a few. I had one a month, but all cancelled.
Yeah, or postponed, we like to say.
Well, postponed is the word. Postponed. Yes. I think people will be ready for conventions again when they're up and running, and you know, yeah. For as long as they ask me to be there, I'll go to them. So yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Right, final question. Hi Kai, I'm a huge fan of the show. I wonder if you remember what song was playing when Jack cuts in on Gwen and Reese dancing. I have the answer in case you need it.
Okay, when Jack cuts in on Gwen and Reese dancing.
That's all it says.
Wow. Ooh, would that be in the wedding episode? I don't know. Something borrowed?
Yes.
What's the answer?
Yeah, that's all it just says. I'm a huge fan and wondered if you remember what song was playing when Jack cuts in on Gwen and Reese when dancing.
Great. No, because the thing is, that would have been input in after, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Although sometimes they kind of have them playing along so people can dance. You can always tell when it's been added afterwards.
Oh, I talked about my rhythm.
I watched something the other day where they were in a nightclub and they'd obviously added it afterwards and the music was like and they were all completely out of time with the music.
No.
Well, on that note, it was You Do Something to Me, and you have indeed done something to us. You have bewitched us with your wonderful career and your wonderful stories and entertained us. And thank you so much.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've loved it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for this is week 21. I can't believe that. Kai, I look forward to seeing you again in person really soon.
Yeah, definitely, darling. I will see you soon. Look after yourself.
For sure. We're either going to do the bakery or we'll do the bakery, we'll have a pastry and then we'll go for a run. How does that sound?
Yeah, do that, yeah. Run first, bakery after.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone. See you again next week and lots of love. Stay safe, everyone. And I'll see you all next week. Lots of love and thank you again.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.